Hi everyone and welcome to Rage Print. I'm Andy and this is Ethan, and today we're going to be building Chopper's legs, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah! Should we see how we get on? Yeah. Why don't you join us? Okay, so here we go. I'm making the first leg. So I have RL shoulder A, RL shoulder B and RL shoulder core. You see there, that's going to be where a magnet goes. And then just doing a bit of a dry fit. Using some EMA. You can use a 2-part epoxy, but EMA seems to be working fine for me. So just speed this up. Lather on the EMA, you can see it nice and shiny. And then push it together. It's quite tight, and it just gave way at the last point. Put some more EMA down just to sort of soak in the sides, and then just run it down the sides as well there. Make sure they all line up nicely. There you go, so that should be nice and smooth. And the dots are on the top, and there's also a line there that follows across to the front, so you know that that is the front of the leg. So repeat for the other side. There are little filament holes you can use there, but I didn't bother. This one was a bit tighter, but eventually it went in. The fact it's quite tight, it's fine with me. At least I know it's going to stay together and it's not just going to randomly fall apart. So just putting a bit more EMA between the joins, just holding it together, making sure it stays flush. There you go, it's running a bit more around the edges again, making sure that little groove stays in line with the other groove on the actual leg core, shoulder core, sorry. There you go, push it together, and a bit more EMA. Right, you can see I just a bit of a jump cut. I went to grab some clamps and they don't fit. I don't bother with those. Right, so that's the shoulder core done. I can't remember what else I did now. Did I do the next bit, which is putting it? Yeah, I did. I'm recording this a few weeks later, so I'm trying to barely remember what I did. So we're mixing some 2-part epoxy together. I've now gone for good old Gorilla. Just notice there's a mixing palette on the front. So now we're grabbing a 10mm diameter, 5mm deep magnet. And we go one there. Not quite where I was pointing, but one there, and one there. Now, as usual with magnets, make sure you keep the polarities around the same way. Otherwise you regress it later, so just put a tiny bit of epoxy, 2-part epoxy in there. I'm trying to work out if there's a better way of doing it than using a popsicle stick. And ideally I'd like to just squeeze it in, but so much comes out using the squeezy tube. There we go. Just use the end of a paintbrush just to sort of make sure it's in all the edges. So, first magnet in, just gently push it in, hold it in place, get rid of the epoxy that's come bubbling up. You shouldn't really use your hands for that, but anyway. So it's speeding up, we'll put the rest of the magnets in. Yeah, I admit I've got some bad habits when it comes to using epoxy here. Yeah, I should not be using my fingers to clean the edges off. I should be using a cloth or something. Right. So what am I grabbing here? I think this is the square nuts. Yep. So the M6 square nuts. And just turn it over, and there's two that goes in those holes there. And immediately what happens is as soon as you turn it back over, they're just going to fall out. So you don't actually need to put them in just yet. So put those to the side. Next step should be the foot cylinder. No, it's the ankle. So just giving it a quick clean off. Putting the actual shoulders to the side. So yeah, just giving it a quick clean. Getting rid of the edges. It's not very often that I sand while building. I usually sand at the end, but I know in this case, a lot of the flashing on the edge is going to get in the way of the other pieces that connect to it. So there we go. So now we're going to build the foot cylinder. And just grabbing all the pieces I need. So those are the top cylinders and lower cylinders. The ankle and the foot cylinder. There's a lot of cylinders being used here. So just tidy up a bit. So again, those two just glue together, and there should be a continuous line. And you use the M3 grub screws. Right. There we go, M3 grub screws, or set screws. And same as before with everything else that Mike's done so far, just epoxy and glue them in, and then use them as a guiding point to attach two pieces together and glue them together. In they go. These ones actually needed screwing in, bizarrely. I think these represent the point where I changed from using an ender and a sidewinder to two sidewinders. So the prints were actually more consistent now. So there we go. So they're in. Bit of epoxy on the other side. And then very quickly run some EMA around all the other edges. And make sure you put it the right way around. And just run some EMA around the sides. And oh yeah, I decided to clamp it together at this point just to make it was starting to come apart. So I thought, let's clamp it, run the EMA around so it soaks in and then creates that nice tight bond. So let's leave that to set. It only takes about 5 minutes to set with the EMA. Dichloromethane, as it's also known as. Right, so this is the main leg, which we're attaching the ankle to, just trying to make sure which way around it goes. I had this brief thought that maybe they were actually different, but it turns out they're not, so yep. So unclamp that. Give it a quick file so we've got the nice smooth edge. Again, because they're going to interfere with other pieces later on. Right. sanding in the world. Probably should really cut this bit. I don't think you really care, do you? But anyway, it's me sanding. More sanding. Come on, am I still sanding? Really? Am I still sanding? Yeah, that's how much effort it takes to keep it nice and smooth. So normally I wouldn't bother, I'll go straight for the spray putty and then smooth it out that way. In this case I knew they would be quite hard to get to afterwards with the spray putty. So anyway, that's nice and smooth. Done. Finally, sanding. So now I'm trying to work out which way around the ankle cylinder goes to the shape. So there you go. So you can see the ankle has like a slice at the top, like an angle. And then the line in the ankle cylinder should follow the angle of that slice. So that just slots on. So you see that? Yeah, the flat side should follow that angle. So that angle there that I'm pointing out should follow the angle that the slice on the top of the ankle. Just move it out of the way, and then trying to work out how to do the. So we put the leg. So the leg goes on, and it's just held on by the. Oh yeah, we're doing this bit first. This is the other ankle plate. So it does say to use set screws here, and I almost did. In fact, you can see me getting them out, and I was looking at it going, there's not enough material on the back plate. I'd have to go quite deep into the ankle itself. And it's like, just didn't see the point. So, sorry, Mike. It's just easy just to line them up and just glue it down. Says me debate. Yeah, that's so it's just easy to just glue it down rather than trying to drill the holes out, because the set screws didn't even fit in the holes. So again, just lining the holes up. Just running some plastic weld around the edges. And then clamping it just to make sure. So just catching up on what the next bit is, and this is where we start using the threaded rods. So we've got the main leg, and that just tidying up the edges a bit so it will actually slot through. A bit of flashing I missed. Yeah, so the main leg just slots down. And I was just checking that the hole lines up all the way through, so make sure we're in the right place. Looks like one of those old periscopes. Anyway. So, chuck some glue on there. And then just glue it together. Run some more around the edges so it soaks through. I must admit that these legs are actually relatively straightforward. I say that, you'll see in a few minutes why that statement is a bit wrong. So anyway, that's the main leg on. The ankle's now dry. I've got the threaded rods to hand. So, remove the clamps. And then that just slots on there. So now we need the upper and lower cylinders. And they just quite easily slot in there. that slots in there. And then that clips in there, and all you do is just glue it together. Like so. Also repeating for both sides. So I'm trying to work out now what the best way of doing it is. It's like the easiest way is to leave the upper cylinder glued in. Okay, let's glue the upper cylinder in. Just checking they actually fit. I don't need to sand them to fit. As you can see, they're quite tight anyway. Yeah, I'm really struggling to remember how I built these because this is literally a few weeks later that I'm doing this voiceover. So anyway, yeah. So that flat edge there should be against there, and that should... I think I'm saying it should fit down like that. Anyway. Yeah, just push the other side in, bit of glue around the edges again, just let it melt. And then up the edges as well there, just so it sticks to the side of the leg. Right. And so there's some more set screws that go in there. Yep, so we need 6 of those. There's only 4 there, so what were the other 2? 4? No, it's just 4 we need. Just rereading the instructions down in front of me. There's only 4 you need, even though it says 6 further down on the page. So, bit of glue there. Pop those in. I know that they, as far as you can push them, is as far in as they need to be. Don't have to try and guess. And then run some EMA on there. And then just push the whole leg together. And it should just nicely slot together. Once you line up the set screws on both sides, of course. There we go. So it's not looking bad. So I then run some more EMA around the joins, just so it starts to stick together. Using an awful lot of glue on this one. Right. So it's just, yeah, a bit more down the edges. I noticed how wobbly it was. I'm thinking, this has got to take the entire weight of the foot on it. And then I remember that you've got to put threaded rod through it as well. But so put the M3 square nuts back in. And they just slot into there. If you don't drop them. So they go in there. And then very carefully tip it. And grab your M6 threaded rod, 300mm times 2. And see there's 2 holes at the bottom of the leg. And they just should just slide up there and then make contact with the M6 square nut. So now I'm looking at it going, how am I supposed to twist that to get... I can't get my fingers in to twist it. And also I can't get the screw to line up either. The nut to line up. So I actually decide to pull the ankle off while it's still wet enough for me to get away with it. And this is the point where I go, yeah, the legs are really, really easy, except, yeah, don't put the ankle on yet. Put the threaded rod in. And then screw it in against the M3, against the square nut. That gives you plenty of threaded rod to work with then. I mean, it says 300mm, 30 centimetres. I cut the threaded rods to 30 centimetres. You could potentially cut them a bit longer so they're outside the ankle and you don't have this problem. I just found this easier in the end. And when I come to build the other leg, I just build it this way. So they're in. And after gluing the ankle to the epoxy. So yeah. And now we just glue the ankle back on. Pretty much a repeat of a couple of minutes ago, just glue it back on. And that now means the threaded rod is attached to the M3 square nuts. And all you have to do is just put some normal nuts at the bottom of the ankle, which we'll come to in a few minutes. So again, just putting more EMA around there and really gluing it down. And bit of plastic stuck on there. So now we get hold of 2 washers and 2 nuts. So there you go, you can see where the threaded rod sticks through, and even at 30 centimetres it's still quite, you probably get away with a bit more. So now you've got to try and hook the washer on the end of the threaded rod. Me and screws go really well, don't they? And nuts and washers and yeah. Anyway, just hook it on. Get there eventually. There we go. And then gently put the M6 nut on. And I used a little board rule just to turn the nut very, very gently onto the threaded rod. Looks like I'm scratching the inside, but I'm not. I'm actually knocking each side of the nut into place. It's easier than wrecking the hole with a pair of needle nose pliers. Although I do eventually go through the needle nose pliers afterwards. So just rinse and repeat with the other washer. And then put the nut on. And then use the board rule, punch, whatever you want to call it. There we go, see? And they're in. And that's the leg, the main part of the leg, done. So which bit do I work on next? I think I do the greeblies. No, I do the other magnets. Yes, I do the other magnets. So there's one magnet goes there and one there. On this leg anyway. So putting the magnets in again, same polarity as I did before. Again, these are the 10mm diameter, 5mm deep magnets. Push them through and not use your fingers to level the resin out. Right, so now we're going to attach the foot hoses, well, a foot hose I've only printed the 3-leg foot hose. I probably should print the second 2-leg foot hose as well. Anyway, so I'm trying to work out which way around it goes, which is important because I need to make sure that I put the right magnet on the right side. Yeah, I don't think I actually really work out which way around it's supposed to go. How it really ever sits. Yeah, anyway. I was actually checking the other ankle to see if there was a part where the hose is supposed to go in and I just missed it. But I think it's actually on the foot shells. So anyway, once I've finished faffing around with that, we'll glue this together. So set screws. And some good old resin. There you go. And yeah, using my fingers again. Right, rub some EMA. And just squish it together. And then run some more plastic weld around the outside. And just leave that set for a few minutes. Right, so now we're going to make the other group of these. Just move that to the side. So just making sure that fits and then how that all fits together. So, yeah. So, more epoxy. And get the 10mm diameter, 5mm deep magnets ready. Polarity doesn't matter too much on this bit because that's going to be connecting to another bit. That's one of the other top to the top briefly. Though, hang on, I get myself confused now. Right, these are all the bits that attach to the leg. All these sides here that are facing, these are the bits that attach to the legs. So now I have to make sure the polarities match. And that I don't mix the polarity up between that magnet and that magnet piece there. So I'm just making sure it's going to connect together. Yep. Oh, magnets and polarities. I need to think of a better way of making sure I get this the right way around. Maybe they should all come marked, like one side black, one side silver. Or like the red and blue magnets you used to have at school, so you knew which one's north and south. So yeah, just checking against the leg, make sure that's the right, it's attaching. I got the right way around on that side as well. And because I'm paranoid, I'll double check again, and I think the magnet pulls out. Yeah, it does. So I pop it back in. Yeah, it pops out again. The thing is, the paranoia means I'm going to make more mistakes. So anyway, that's those two bits in. And the next two magnets, just more resin. Wow, that resin was really drying quick, wasn't it? Just mix a new resin up. There we go. See? It was hot this day. I think this is the last time we had some good weather in the UK, which was it's about 26. The resin was just drying out so quickly. So just pop the magnets in. And I know it's 5-minute epoxy as well, but it was just drying out as soon as I was putting it down. So just making sure that is the right way around. That's definitely the right way around. There's me trying to get the magnet out. I just thought of an easy way of doing it. Just put the piece back on and just yank it. Anyway. So I'm checking again, make sure the pull's there. That's all I'm after, just make sure the pull's there and it's not trying to push it away. Yeah. So that, now I've got to do the magnets on this side, and this is the bit that goes into the shoulder hole on the leg. So now I'll be checking the polarity against the pieces, against the leg on the floor, just out of shot. So pop the magnets in. Yeah. There's me checking before I glue them in. There we go. Scrape the resin off. Still using my fingers. Right. I need to wash the resin off my hands, which I've cut and done. So now putting the last magnet on for the hose. I don't end up putting the magnet on at the bottom, the bit that connects to the foot, mainly because I wasn't sure how it was going together. Right, so that's where I want to wash the resin off my hands. So now I'm just going to file the join mark like I did on the ankle cylinder. Probably should really just cut the filing out, shouldn't I? Right, in future I'm going to cut all filing out. I'll show you starting and then I'm just going to cut it out because you don't need to see me filing and sanding. No matter how fast I'm going. Come on. Come on, come on. Come on. Finish the sanding. There we go. Nice and smooth. Right. That's it. I'll do that magnet another time. So now we're putting together the other leg. It is basically exactly the same as the first one. So all I'm going to do here is just let it play. So as you can see here with the threaded rods, I'm just putting them in straight away rather than messing around. You know, lessons learned, makes it a lot faster. Building these legs was a hell of a lot quicker than building the first leg. if in case you're wondering why the tags are still on the clamps, it's because I bought the clamps about 20 minutes before I started building these. I just didn't get around to taking the clamps off, taking the tags off. The tags are now off. So as you can see here, I'm gluing the leg to the shoulder, but I will not be gluing the ankle on first. I'm going to go straight away and put the threaded rods through. Yeah, so here we go. I'm just going to put the square nuts in, the rods in. And that's done. A lot easier than last time. Okay, so I think it's fair to say building the second leg was a lot quicker than the first, and part of that was down to the fact that I knew what I was doing, and also this time I wasn't building it for camera, I was just building it. I've already shown you once how to build a leg. I didn't feel the need to sort of go through each part again. So now we're going to do the greeblies for the other leg. These are different to the first leg. And despite the fact there's only 3 of them, it took me about a couple of minutes to work out how they go together. I wasn't convinced that the bit that's... I wasn't convinced they'd stay together because there's no magnets on the bit I'm holding now. So just quickly tidy up. Yeah, it's like that tiny little triangle part at the bottom, and that hooks into the triangle part of the lower, I suppose it's a hydraulic bit that's I'm holding now. I couldn't quite see how they would go together, or rather I could see how they go together, I just couldn't quite see how they would stay in place like that. Yeah, what's to stop it just coming apart again? So anyway, bit of tidying up just to make sure it fits inside the leg. I say a bit of tidying up, quite a lot of tidying up, isn't it? Anyway, there's the shoulder piece. Right, this shoulder piece, incidentally, the print failed halfway through. So I worked out at what height it had failed and went back into Cura and just dropped the piece down by that much and then printed it from that point onwards and then just glued the 2 pieces together. Apart from a small seam, which to be honest you can't see because once it drops down into the shoulder you won't be able to notice it. Yeah, you wouldn't know any different. In fact, you barely see it on camera, to be fair. So anyway, as I said, that goes into the leg like that. Like so. And then that goes... So this is where I work out how it holds in place. There's like a lip underneath. Oh, clearing out a bit of brim that's inside the magnet holes. And that just clips on top with the magnets. So that's how that goes together. And there's me checking to see how stable it really is, how much it's going to move around. Okay, magnets pushing down, how much does that move? Not really at all, which is reassuring. I was honestly expecting to be a magnet there between these 2 pieces. So you can, as you can see there's like a, yeah, that sort of shape. And it sort of scoops under into the leg. Like that. That holds it in place. And then the magnetised piece with the little triangle clips in there. And then likewise there's before magnets, so 2 on each side of the shoulder piece. So just quickly tidy up. And then really it's just a rinse and repeat of the magnets from before. So as you can see, just putting a bit of resin in there, popping the magnets in. I'm making sure they're the right way around, but I'm not too worried that they match the same polarity as they did on the other leg. Mainly because if they're different, it means I can't mix up the shoulder pieces, but really all I care about is the polarity between the two pieces are the same. So a bit of a cut, I tidied up a lot. I also let the glue dry, the resin dry for the magnets in the shoulder piece. And I was rapidly running out of two-part epoxy at this point. So a bit in there. Checking which way around the magnets needs to go. And would you believe I still managed to muck it up at one point when I come back to testing later? I think it's... Yeah, it's on this leg. I got one of the magnets wrong way around. It sort of popped out and then I put it back in. And yeah, I put it in the wrong way around. There was like a bit of glue on one side and I assumed that's the side that had been glued. Turned out it wasn't. That was the part where I rubbed it over my finger. So anyway, once these magnets are on, that's it. That is both legs done. So just double checking my polarity. And we're done. 2 legs done. So that went really well. I was pleased about these. Went together really easily. Once I worked out the whole threaded rod about taking the ankle off, to put the rod in to give me enough room to screw that into the square nut and then putting that on. Simple. Yeah, I'm really pleased with these. The magnets have worked as well, he says. Yeah, they come off fine. And there's quite a bit of pull on them, so I know they're going to stick. And it's quite a nice satisfying click actually when they go together. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And oh, sorry about the squeaky chair. It's quite hot in here. But yeah, this one's worked just as well. And you'll notice that bit's missing because literally just before filming, I wanted to make sure that the pieces came off and one magnet came out. So that's been super glued back in. I don't want to put that anywhere near that just yet. But yeah, it's bit micro. These are going to be a paint, I think, because I know these are different colours to the rest of the foot, the rest of the leg. Luckily that comes out, and I know that's yellow, I think. Green, grey, yeah, that's yellow. So yeah, looking forward to that. The next step will be the foot shells. I go on there, and that'll hold Chopper up. Chopper is literally just around that corner there. In fact, you can see his dome there. Dome's all in one piece. I haven't time recording. I don't think Mike's actually released the cut files to do the dome, so it's still only a one-piece print. John prints that. Yeah, I get up on 2 feet. It starts to tidy the room up a bit as well. And it doesn't help that there you go. R2 is also in pieces. Yeah, we're it's looking good. So as I said, the next step would be the foot shells. I'm not going to do the drives. I've still got a few bits of the drives missing from memory. And then we'll do the centre foot, so he's balanced on 3 feet. And then I think we'll work our way up, do the Lazy Susan neck. The Lazy Susan itself is just here. So it's just the gearing on top of that. I'm half a mind to paint the body before I start working on the dome. The dome, apart from the actual dome itself and the eyes, I haven't done any printing for. I was waiting for Tim Hebel to finish doing his modification to Chopper's arms. So as you saw in the first video, Chopper's arms come out and they do this. Tim, so I think we can blame John for this because it was at the Jordan Drinks, and I think he drunkenly mentioned that it would be really great if Chopper's arms could do RX as well. So you could go in this. Tim took it as a challenge, and fair play to him, he's done it. At the time of recording, he's just got it working. He's just finalising the bill of materials and the instructions on how to do it. So I've been holding off until that was ready. I'm going to be putting it in so my chopper can do the Rick wave. Sorry, Rick. I wasn't going to mention it, but I have to. Yeah, so my chopper will, if I can get it working, hopefully doing this. It involves a 3D printed bearing, which is going to be a whole new thing to do. Yeah. And then we move on to electronics. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. I'm really pleased with these. I'm recording this a few days later after building this, so the two-part epoxy has fully set. Yeah, it's also quite hot today as well, so I'm glad I'm not actually doing it any more building today. It'll probably be melting in the heat. It still is only PLA plus at the end of the day. It can handle a bit of heat in the UK, but not 26, 27 like it is right now. And direct sunshine as well, because south is that way. So direct sunshine right in the house. It needs to know that, but yeah. So foot shelves. That should be quite an easy one. Yeah, that should be quite an easy one, he says. And then the centre foot, which I have all the bits for, and I've been looking at. And then I might have to paint some of it before I actually finish putting it together. I don't know, it depends, because I could paint it afterwards, but I might get paint on the tyre, and then you get like silver on the tyre, and it can look a bit odd. So I'll think about that one. But yeah, sorry, I'm just rambling now, aren't I? Just need to stop me. Just tell me. Just stop. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye.